Will injuries derail another season for the Dolphins? What is going on? It is Alex coming back at you with another video. And today I'm taking a deep dive into the 2023 Miami Dolphins. If you guys are new, feel free to stick around, join the community. All links are in the description. But of course, hitting the like button and subscribing always does help the algorithm. And it's always flattering for your boy. Let's jump right into this, going to the depth chart and then going to a records prediction. Starting out with the offense, going from skill position to line, then defensive line to skill position. Quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Love him to death. I just don't really think he has the upside, so to speak. He doesn't have the physical upside to really maximize the octane of this offense, and that's kind of crazy given how well he was playing last year. But what I'm telling you guys is that I feel like your offense could be even better. Now, does that mean you need to upgrade? No, I don't think so at all. But it just might mean that you aren't fully tapping into what you have there with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Of course, you can easily say that when you go from the best quarterback, arguably, of all time to a pretty solid quarterback. So, naturally, when you compare how Tyreek Hill played with Patrick Mahomes versus Tua Tagovailoa, there's going to be a little bit of a difference. So I'll take that. It's good criticism there. But Tua is still a solid quarterback. It's just the injuries, the concussions that really scare me. Concussions are no joke. There are guys who are starting to call it their careers way earlier because they're seeing what happens with CTE right after. And, even with guys like Antonio Brown, you're seeing it live even when they're in their careers. So it's very scary, especially because it's happened very scarily multiple times on national television. So hopefully Tua ends up getting a little bit more luck from the gods, so to speak, on his mental health. And, fingers crossed, because even if you're a fan of the Patriots, the Bills, the Jets, or whatever, and you don't like Tua, as a human being, just have the baseline respect that, you'd want to see someone be healthy. You could pray that he's kind of crap, he gets his money, and then, the Dolphins fans are tormented. But for those people who wish for injuries, just check yourself, man. Get some help, because, there's no reason to wish harm on another human being. This is a game after all. Not this isn't like a war or anything. This is a damn game. So then you got Raheem Mostert there at running back, as well as Devon Achane. Forgot to mention Skylar Thompson, who stepped in last year, 7th round selection from a little over a year ago, who's very solid. I liked Skylar back at K-State, and honestly, K-State has another quarterback that I really do like, but that's another issue for another time. But Devon Achane from Texas A&M, go Aggies. I don't know why I said that. I go to a different school in Texas. That sounds wrong, but I'll show some love because I really like Devon Achane to the point where I had him at the same level as Jahmyr Gibbs. Am I insane for that? Most likely, but still going to show some love there for him anyways. Alec Ingold is a very solid fullback. Not many fullbacks actually get my respect, and he's one of them for sure. Looking at the receivers, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, arguably the best duo in the NFL. Braxton Berrios at slot, not over the moon for him personally. I think he's a solid return man, really good depth guy. But I just don't think he's a starting caliber receiver on a Super Bowl competitive team. I could be wrong about that, but you have Cedric Wilson on the roster, so that's why I didn't give it the worst position, because you have really good competition at least there. And Cedric, I hope, takes a step up because he was really awesome there for a minute with the Cowboys. Then you have Chosen Anderson as well. Chosen, or formerly Robbie Anderson there. So you have some guys, but it kind of reminds me of when Will Fuller came to the squad and, I thought he was going to do something. Yeah, he had one or two. Or they might have been Kenny Stills that had one or two big plays for the team. You know what? It's just one of those guys where it's I really wish they would produce a little bit more than they are, but I highly doubt it. Looking at the tight end, Durham Smythe. I know y'all love Durham Smythe. I'm not crazy about him. Now, could he be in that same situation as me with James Mitchell for the Lions, where even though they're not necessarily a name brand, they're really solid? Sure. But I personally don't think Durham Smythe is, a starting caliber tight end on a Super Bowl caliber team. I think he's a starting tight end in the NFL, but not on a Super Bowl caliber team, if you catch my drift. Looking at the offensive line, Terron Armstead, I absolutely adore him. Should have probably included him in the best unit. As long as he's healthy, he is an absolute monster, which is the truth of most stars. Then you got Liam Eichenberg in there. One of the first misses I've ever had, but honestly, I think that, he's just somebody that was physically limited. And that was something I didn't factor in enough into my evaluations. And, he's been more so a liability than anything. Connor Williams was honestly a pretty solid signing. Robert Hunt has been it's a consistent interior offensive line. I believe it, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, It's the exact same offensive line from last year, so at least there's some continuity, but you do have Isaiah Wynn in there, which I do love because I think you play either tackle position or any of the guard positions, and that's really good to have that versatility because you're essentially paying one contract for the value of four. So good job for you guys on that one, and yeah, got all that in there for you guys, but keep your eye out for Devon Achane. He fits this offense perfectly. I really did like that pick. Looking at the defense, so you got Jalen Ramsey up in the building. Now, this dude has gotten toasted a couple times. I'll give him that. And he's not the best corner in the NFL. I personally don't think so. I think when he's playing his best, he is. But, it's more of a game of consistency now than anything. I don't really know if the Marcus Peters and the Jalen Ramseys of the world are the ones who are going to be making or breaking a game because, quarterbacks are getting smarter and they are probably going to be the ones taking advantage of when the break happens rather than when the make happens. So a little bit worried about that, but you have Xavier Howard, who's a really nice pairing up there. Obviously, both big name brands. I never, ever go for the corners first, so I do apologize for that because we'll end up talking about Kader Kohou in a second. Looking at the D-line, which is what I should have done. Seiler, not a fan. He's listed as a starter, so he could potentially not be because you have Emmanuel Ogbah there, who I'd much rather be starting. So keep that in mind. It could be an Our Lad's fault. Again, I'm parroting exactly what they project as the starting lineup. So it is what it is. Davis, honestly, a pretty solid nose tackle. Christian Wilkins, awesome D tackle, former first round pick. Then you pretty much traded your first of Bradley Chubb there to Denver and then ended up grabbing him, signing him to a contract. He's a good player. I think he's going to take a big step up for this team because Jalen Phillips is a really good edge too. You have two really good edge rushers, including some pretty solid defensive interior dudes. Overall, really solid. Linebacker-wise, you got David Long Jr. and Jerome Baker. I think they're fine. I don't think they're awful at all. But, for me, I'm not over the moon. You got Channing Tindall there as well, which I really like. Andrew Van Ginkel, forgot to mention him as depth, as well as Malik Reed, if I'm not mistaken, behind Bradley Chubb. Then you look at the safeties. You got Brandon Jones as well as Javon Holland. I think both of them are, serviceable. I mean, let me change that. Javon Holland's awesome. I love Javon Holland. He was one of those guys who was one of my first whiffs because of the fact that there wasn't all 22 of him from the first year I really started scouting players. So, I mean, I'll take it on the chin, but at the same time, I really did like him. I didn't know who he was because you take a year off because COVID's weird, but great for him. Great for you guys as well. Looking at the other corner here, Kader Kohou, who stepped up out of nowhere. Great for you guys. I love the fact that you have two name brands and now you have somebody who's definitely under the radar. And you also have Cam Smith there as well. I believe the second round selection who did just sign his contract a couple of days ago. So overall, really solid team. You got a good enough you got a solid offense, and then you have a really solid defense as well. I feel like it has a little more star power than, necessarily oomph. And I don't know if the cohesion is going to work, but if it does, then you have star power and cohesion. That's going to be a great thing. But you guys are in a very, very tight division. Another Super Bowl competitor there. You're going to LA to start out the year. It's a coin toss game. Usually in a coin toss game, I'm going to give it to the home team, especially if they're both Super Bowl competitors. New England just seems to have y'all's number early in the season. Again, you can fully correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But, for me, I just know that Bill Belichick, especially after a sub 500 season, is going to at least come out trying to be guns blazing. If y'all seen the video, which I'm already can guarantee you I'm getting absolutely berated for it, it's not pretty for New England, but New England could flip quite a few games and then make me totally bite my decision. But then you got Denver there. I think that you guys are much more talented than Denver. I think you win every single home game. Yeah, so you guys do not lose a home game, bottom line. I think Miami is a very unique climate, and your team is definitely good enough to where I don't feel like I have to give upsets to you guys in Miami. I think that your team is good enough to get the win anyway, but it certainly helps, and it kind of seals the deal. So you only lose away games to Buffalo there, which, Buffalo is an amazing franchise. I don't think we can really complain too much about them. You end up beating up on New York and Carolina. Carolina's going to be early on. New York is a big overachieving team. Philadelphia, I mean, I don't think I need to explain that, or Kansas City. Or you talking about New England, I'm going to have y'all split again because you're in Vegas too. Then you go to, not Vegas. I saw Vegas. You're in Miami. Then you go to Vegas after the bye week. Going to give you the W there as well. and then go to New York. So you're only losing to Super Bowl competitor teams except for one, and that's New England. Then you beat up on Washington, who I don't think they have the depth to last that long. Tennessee, which, they have probably some good quarterback drama at that point. New York, again, have you guys splitting because I love y'all. Then Dallas coming into town. They go from a dome to end up being in Miami. I'm going to give it to y'all. Go to Baltimore. That's going to be tough. The snow's there. And I think Baltimore's just a really good team. And then you end off the year guns blazing at Buffalo, praying to God that the Jets end up losing. But you just narrowly miss out on the playoffs just because how good the AFC is. It's just super duper tough. You guys end up missing with a 10-7 record, which is ridiculous. At the end of the day, 10-7 teams will be making the playoffs. But the way that everything rolled out, because I'm going to honor what I did before, it's the way that came out. So that's going to be the video. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.